3, 2, 1.
Here we go!
Woo! Welcome to the happy hour edition, Friday afternoon, Dennis and Andy show. We're going to be drinking and talking and having fun. I have a beer.
As do I.
Dennis has chocolate milk, and I have a beer.
Nope. So what I'm going to do every Friday, we talked about it because, we're starting to do the other ones later. But 4 o'clock is about when we can do it on Friday. It's happy hour. We've got lots of other stuff. So I'm going to bring a new beer each week. This week, I'm doing a shout out to Jason Spooner because he got this for my birthday. It's called Bladow or Bladow Imperial Breakfast Stout. So it's not breakfast time, but there's no time for a bad. Right here in Farmville, is it? Yes, Farmville, North Carolina. So a microbrewery. So thank you, Jason. This is my stout of the week that I'm having this week. So we need to have our simultaneous clink.
Clink. And I am drinking from my wife's neck of the woods a nice Middle Ages Syracuse Pale Ale. It has a little bite to it, but not too much. It's brewed, like it says, up in Syracuse. It is a 5.2% alcohol by volume. And it only fills up my manly mug that much. Because this is
So one thing you'll find out is Andy and I, like we disagree on art sometimes. We definitely disagree on beer.
Well,
I
like beer.
I like it to be nice, dark. You can't see through it, kind of stout, gritty. Sometimes a good amber, things like that. Andy likes it to be nice and light, like a Zima.
Oh, Zima. I remember those days. No. I just like to be able to see through it. And, I like beer that has more taste than just mud. That's all. Now, Dennis, slam it, twirl it, and let's see you actually use that glass the way you're supposed to.
I just did.
No, it's like the same. Dennis, that glass is like a samurai sword. If you unsheath the samurai sword, you better use it. If you rock a glass like that where you're supposed to dunk it down and twist, that's what you're supposed to do. I have a sipping mug. I'm allowed to just do this.
What do you think a yard is for?
And then you twist the end as you guzzle it down.
You don't twist no end. This isn't wine.
You dumbass. All right. So we're going to talk Wanda Vision. We already have a comment. Dogecoin expert, this episode. Really? You thought it was disappointing?
He posted it before we even had the intro going.
No way.
Just a little early, Dogecoin.
That's okay. No, I don't think it was disappointing at all. It was definitely, I thought, kind of like Mandalorian, every episode just got better and better. And I thought this payoff in the end was really good.
Oh, I thought you were talking about our episode, not Wanda Vision.
Oh, no. Oh, I mean, I expect to disappoint people. So that, that's fine.
So, I'm going to say we are going to kick off with Wanda Vision first. I think I agree with you, by the way, Mr. Coyne. I liked it. There were things that I absolutely loved and a lot of things that I tried to catch.
Oh, I know why you were.
But there were a couple of things that I really was disappointed in. Being a fan.
Mephisto.
What's that?
There's no Mephisto. Meh.
Well, part of it being a fanboy is we've got all of these different theories that we've got, what we would like to see. And sometimes it hits on, and sometimes we're wrong, and sometimes we're just disappointed.
And I shot that theory down from day one.
I know you did.
Day one. Why? Because I'm a genius.
Yes, said no one ever.
Oh.
I agree.
Well, you
It could have been better.
it could have been better. You got to tell us why. You just can't say it could have been better.
Yeah, we'll kind of go through it, shoot in with what you thought. So there were some good scenes in here. This is one of the things that I did love when they had the big fight scene, and it was like, go at it, boys, you take care of the military. And, the battle, there weren't a lot of good screenshots that I could pull down yet. But the battle between, Agatha and Wanda, I thought was solid. The two visions going at it was solid. The kids doing with what they did to the military, solid. And it gave me a hint of The Incredibles. That's as soon as I saw them standing there, I immediately thought of The Incredibles. So maybe it was a nod to them, maybe not, but that's what I took away from it, was something just like that.
Yeah, I don't think it was a nod. I don't know. I don't think so. But it was definitely movie quality with the fights and the CG and stuff. The effects, they didn't skimp and go, well, it's just a TV show. When the White Vision came down and she was like, what? And then he goes to like crush her head, basically.
My wife yelled at me because what we almost need to do is do a reaction video, because I'm very animated. And as soon as he flew down and walked over to her, I'm like, it's a trap. And I'm yelling, it's a trap. Don't let him touch you. And then she crushed him like, my wife's upstairs working and she's yelling down, would you shut up down there?
What she was yelling down was, would you shut the fuck up down there, is what she was actually. I know your wife.
I know, she's on video conferences. So I am pretty loud. So, but yeah, I was like, oh my God, trap. But it was a good scene. The fight with her and Agatha, I thought was pretty awesome.
Oh my God, it was so good. And I thought she tricked her really well. I liked how, I like Agatha and the power she has and how she was pulling in some of, she was pulling in, some of Wanda's power. You saw her hand get all nasty, and Wanda's hand get all nasty and stuff, which I thought was cool.
So two things about that. One, again, remember how I pointed out how a mole is a sign of a witch from one of the previous episodes?
Oh, right.
Another thing that designates a witch from, say, mythology and stuff are the fingertips going black. So
I didn't know that. Oh.
Yeah, and it's another thing that I thought they did really well. And then Agatha, she reveals that she I don't remember the exact term she used, but she's basically a magic siphon. She's siphoning the magic and life force from people. And I'm like, oh, so that's interesting. It wasn't just a spell. She actually does it. So, yeah.
Well, obviously they showed that, last week with her origin and stuff.
Right.
The episode was shorter than we thought. Yeah, it was about the same length as last week, wasn't it?
Yeah, but there were a lot of theories, and we were talking, how are they going to wrap this whole thing up in 45 minutes? We had talked about, well, maybe the last episode or two were going to be longer. They weren't. And there was this rumor out there that there was a special 10th episode that had been kept under wraps. And we're like, oh, maybe it'll kind of wrap it up. And then there'll be this other episode they'll announce, which will maybe do the lead in. Nope. So I agree. It was shorter. I expected it to be a little bit longer and they would do a little more, but they kept it within their time constraints. So,
yeah. I liked the Vision fight. We talked about, I thought that was really cool. I thought it was just really cool how, she created, the town was already there, but with her magic, she created, all the buildings were a lot nicer. The people were under her control, basically. She created the Vision out of whole cloth, basically. And, it's one of those things like that. I think of it as, it's still something that as she created it, but it was still like her spell or magic, whatever you want to say, her will having to keep it going the whole time.
It is. So it's
when
basically like
Vision fought the Vision, I was like, that's really intense because that her Vision, not the white one, but the original Vision,
Mind Stone Vision.
The Mind Stone Vision was, her powers are so strong that even in a fight with this real thing, he's not getting it. You think that this real thing, this real Vision that is its equal down to everything except for its memories, could just bust it up so bad. Like, to me, I would almost think that while he's getting his ass kicked, it would almost affect her because she made it. You know what I mean?
No, I do, because it's bringing the power level down far enough where she can't concentrate. But Agatha mentions it, man, your spells are like on autopilot or something to that effect in the other episode. And it is so powerful that she can do it. Absolutely agree with this.
Dude, that costume, we're jumping ahead. The screenshot kind of shows it. She got the cool. Well, before we even get to it, when I loved how Agatha's on the roof and Wanda comes up from behind real quick and just does that mind thing like she did in Age of Ultron.
Yes,
Avengers. So they go back to when Agatha was at the stake and stuff 400 some years ago, and Wanda shows up, but then Wanda gets reversed to the stake, and just the energy started forming it. And just that, I was like, oh, that's so cool. But then when she actually does get in the battle that new costume and she has the headdress, and it just goes to show they keep the same shape, basically, headdress from the comics, but they make it more intricate and a little glowing and stuff, and it just works. So you see,
I looked for a screenshot because I really wanted to show her outfit, and it's like not up anywhere on the web right now. I couldn't find a single screenshot of her new outfit, so they must have kept it under wraps really well. But it was fantastic.
Hindsight being 2020, I don't know why I didn't pause the screen and just take a picture.
Yeah, it was great. It really was.
Because the outfit, I think it ties in nicely with kind of what she's wearing in the comics now.
Yeah.
And it still has, it just, who it is. Once again, they take a character who you think Scarlet Witch, you think a certain look from the comics, which they showed in the Halloween episode, and you're like, oh, that's cute, but it looks like a homemade costume.
Right.
But if you were to if you took somebody that only knows the Scarlet Witch from the comic books in that costume, and then said, here's this photograph, what character is it? They'd go, oh my God, that's the Scarlet Witch.
Yeah,
without a doubt. They know it's the Scarlet Witch because they keep the key aspects to it. With her long hair, with the headdress, the color and stuff. I can't wait for Doctor Strange to see her in that again.
Right. Well, and a couple of things that I really enjoyed, when they were having their big fight, she's whipping out her bolts at her and stuff, her Eldritch bolts, and she's basically absorbing them because, as we talked about, she's a power sponge basically. But how does Wanda defeat her? She pulls a trick out of Civil War, and she grabs her, I believe it was her car. I don't remember for sure, but I think it was her. It was a scarlet colored car, and she pummels it right on top of her instead of Eldritch bolting it, which is great.
But did you catch the little, I asked Courtney if she knew where the reference was from.
The boots?
The boots.
Yes, as soon as you saw the boots, that was awesome.
Underneath the house where you just see the boots, I was like, oh my God, that's got to be a reference to Wizard of Oz.
It is. It totally is the house landing on the Wicked Witch. Yeah. That was fantastic and funny as hell.
And it was a beautiful looking episode. That was so cool. And Courtney knew the reference. She's like, oh, I know that. I'm like, oh my God, that is so, like, as soon as they showed the boots, before they panned down to where you could see they were just the boots and nothing else, I said, there's no way there's legs attached to those boots. There's no way. And they weren't. And I was like, that is awesome. All the little tidbits they did were just so cool. And then let's talk about this. I thought this was the great conversation between the two visions about
so the issue is that I had is we had discussed this many years ago. This was a conversation, and it's one of these metaphysical debates that you have. I was hoping to find a better diagram of it out there. When I heard it, I'm like, oh my God, we've had this debate before. And it was cool. This is the best one that I could find out on the web. Yeah. But that debate and the way that the two visions sat there after battling and then logically discussed things out like two machines would.
Well, it was more Mind Stone Vision, because he explained all this
right
to the other one and then let it kind of absorb into the other one. And the other one was like, oh yeah,
I need more information. Basically, I need more data to query and to understand what you're saying, because his primary function is to destroy the vision. Well, he's bringing up the point, but I'm actually not the vision. You are technically more vision than what I am. Right. And logically, it's like the old Star Trek episode dealing with Nomad going back to the 60s. It's the same argument. But it winds up being so theoretical in how they were putting through everything and discussing it. It was just so well done. And again, if you remove a particular plank and you replace that plank, is that still the original, the ship of Theseus? Yes or no? So yes, it goes one way. No, it goes down to the other way. Well, what if that plank gets fixed, the original plank re-put back on? Is that now the original ship? Or what if you replace 2 planks or 3 planks? It was a great philosophical debate, and I loved it. That was kudos. So somebody knew their shit writing on that one.
Well, and that's the thing too. And then Mind Stone Vision implants all his memories into, White Vision. So now,
yes,
he's out there because he just took off. Wanda has no idea this happened, and he's out there. And she, at the end of the episode, when she reverts everything back, basically, and reverses her spell, you could say, she doesn't realize your vision is actually out there. He just doesn't have the Mind Stone anymore. But this White Vision has all the memories. It is your vision. You just have to hook up.
But she doesn't know it, because she doesn't know what Mind Stone Vision did to White Vision. So he's out there. So, I mean, this makes into a really great future storytelling.
Well, that's the thing.
Is it going to be in Doctor Strange? Is it going to be...
I don't think so.
Is it going to be in Black Widow, where it's going to be an end credit scene?
I doubt it. I don't even know. That's a good question. I don't want to go off on Black Widow, but that's a good question. They always do an end credit scene, but what's an end credit scene for a movie that takes place before Civil War took place? Because that's when it takes place.
Correct.
Sandwiched between Civil War and Age of Ultron. So what end credit scene would it be? Because she's dead, and they said that she's dead.
Right, but that doesn't mean she doesn't uncover something during her antics during the movie that has a direct relationships, which fast forward leads into this. They can be pretty sneaky doing this.
Well, anyhow, back to this. So, I guess one of the questions I have is, and to me it makes sense, is if the vision puts all his memories into the White Vision, and the White Vision takes off out of there, why wouldn't he have tried to, basically hang around to contact Wanda when everything's said and done? Why would he?
My reasoning, if I were writing the story, I would be like, he just got dumped this incredible amount of data, which he can't process fast enough. He literally is like a confused person now, and he's going to go out and figure out what just happened to him because it's not instantaneous. He got hit with the news as he was processing it.
I can see your point behind that, but he's so advanced from a technological standpoint that you would think the amount of data that the Vision dumped into him would be looking at it from a computer standpoint, like you said, his processing speed isn't like my computer. It isn't even like the space station. It is so far advanced. You'd think that data dump he processed like that.
But it's relevant compared to the amount of data that was just dumped into him. Again, we're not talking a few terabytes of data. We're talking about an entire lifetime of information that was dumped into it. Granted, it was not a full human lifetime. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. It'll be interesting to see. One of the really cool things that I enjoyed, we found out we were right about Darkholm. So the Darkholm was indeed in there.
Oh, Dennis, by the way, is that beer drinking itself? I'm just curious.
Well, I've already drank like 4 or 5 times because you aren't paying attention.
Yeah, I am.
I don't.
Whatever.
So anyway, back to the Darkhold. The Darkhold is awesome because they reference it in here. She explains what it is to the audience that doesn't know. But what's interesting is you actually see a really good picture of it. You see the Scarlet Witch, you see the cover and everything like that, which kind of looks like the books that Doctor Strange has in the library that were always protected by the hexes. However, it looks totally different than the Darkhold that I saw in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. because this came to the forefront in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., and this looks nothing like what was in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. So that tells me I've got a feeling these are 2 separate universes, that Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. was not here. Because they wouldn't make a glitch like that or an oversight. They're so smart with everything else. I can't see them screwing this up.
Man, I don't know. I don't remember enough of it from Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. So
it literally looked like a tomb and had Darkhold on it. I was like, okay, that's an okay looking book. This was awesome looking, but yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I liked how at the end she basically, Agatha's prison is her being that neighbor,
Yes.
Which, it's a prison and it's not, because once she's that neighbor again, there's no part of her that's like, damn it, I need to be the witch Agatha again. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
She's just gone. Like when you're a prisoner, you know that you're trapped in something or somewhere and you can't get out. Whereas this person's just going to be walking around that city as, somebody, a pedestrian in the city, a person in the city, not knowing she's trapped. I mean, kind of like Wanda said, look, if I need you, I know where to find you, which means she's not done. And I wouldn't be surprised if she shows up in Doctor Strange either.
Right. Well, Doge actually, yeah. And this was really cool. That was a cool
pick. Oh, yeah, that was awesome.
That Wanda is stronger than Doctor Strange. Well, she talks about how the Scarlet Witch is more powerful than the Sorcerer Supreme. So, but this leads into one of my sad parts of this, and I think maybe this is kind of what Doge was talking about at the beginning. I wanted to see, and everything that you just said was true, I wanted to see Doctor Strange make an appearance in this episode for 2 reasons. One, what you just said, is Wanda is supposed to be stronger than the Sorcerer Supreme. The Sorcerer Supreme should be feeling what's going on and discover the source of this basically influx in the ley lines, because he's supposed to be the protector of all of reality, especially anything magic. And he didn't show up, and that twerked me just a little bit. I was pissed.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. And you know how they'll cover it. I'm if they don't cover that, with him, just even a line of dialogue in Doctor Strange, I'd be surprised.
Yeah.
But it's got to, they're going to have to do, I agree with you. They're going to have to do a really good job in Doctor Strange for him to cover it somehow of go, oh yeah, I felt this disturbance, but I didn't think it was worthy enough to check out. You know what I mean? It's like, seriously, dude,
it's something
wasn't a minor disturbance. This was huge.
Right. And Agatha mentions this in the other episode. She goes, you were simultaneously casting all of these spells, and she's never felt such power. She felt this from wherever she was. How in the hell did Doctor Strange not feel this and come to investigate? And right. I'm not saying he should have been part of this entire series. He should have popped in at the end, at least to figure out what was going on and make an appearance. Anyway, my piece on that, I think it was a missed point unless they've got something built into the Doctor Strange movie to address it, which tells me they may, because I can't see him leaving this hole. But as a fan, I really wanted that cameo. I really, really did.
Yeah, that would be nice. But, there's also the business side of Marvel going, do we really want to put out the Benjamins for Benedict Cumberbatch for a 10-minute appearance? How much is that going to cost us?
Actually, to quote George, yes, yes, yes. I would want them to put out that money. So that was my first disappointment. We might as well hit the second one right away. And that was Pietro or Pietro.
I love that. I'm not as tied into it as you are.
What's that?
I said I loved it because I'm not as tied into it with the theory as you were. So when I saw what you're going to say, I was like, that's awesome.
I was thinking maybe it was just going to be a golem, that she had created. Was it a multiverse thing? And it was so cool in how they teased us along. And then she finds out the guy's name is Ralph Boner. And I'm like, of all the cool things that I wanted to have happen, or okay, maybe this is it. We had all of these realities set up or contingencies of what it could be. He turned into a dick joke. That's what they pulled out of it. Ralph Boner. Oh, your name's Ralph Boner.
He's an actor. That was great.
I started thinking of Mandarin right away, going from the Iron Man, which pissed me off in the Iron Man. Oh, yeah. That Mandarin was just this actor. Oh, hey, I'm just an actor. Whoa, I'm just doing what my script is. And that he was an actor named Ralph Boner. And I'm like, cereal. Out of all things that I wanted to have true, any of the contingencies, this was not on my list. I thought it was a letdown.
Dude, Doja Coin, I knew there wasn't going to be Nightmare. I knew there wasn't going to be Mephisto. I knew it. I was like, it's going to be, as soon as Agatha was Agatha, which we all knew she was, I was like, she'll be the villain. They're not going to junk it up like Spider-Man 3 with freaking all these villains, especially at the last minute. I was like, no way. Or they just surprised.
I thought maybe it was going to be like a Thanos end credit scene where you find out that Agatha's the main bad, but that Mephisto or Nightmare or somebody was in there working behind the scenes. That's what I kind of thought was going to happen, and I would have been fine with that. But seriously, the problem is when you teased last week that, oh, well, Bettany said that the main he got to work with somebody else and he didn't work. And I'm like, well, cool. I can't wait to see. Is it James Spader bringing back the voice of Ultron?
Right.
Is it, we had all of these theories. Oh, it was Paul Bettany playing against Paul Bettany. Right. That was it? Seriously? Again, that was strike 3 on this one.
Well, other cool stuff was seeing Monica Rambeau photon it up with the boys. That was awesome. Using her powers to the limited ability, because she's not, I'm glad it wasn't a full-blown thing, because it'd be kind of like, really, you know how to do all this stuff already? So I thought that was pretty cool. My daughter was really stoked to see the kids use their powers. I got to be honest, I don't care.
Wow, you hate her.
It was cool, but I wasn't like, oh my God. Like Courtney was sitting next to me. She's like, yo, they're using their powers.
That's
And I was
because
like, "Oh,
it's aimed at a child, which
yeah,
I'm
yeah,
surprised you don't like it.
exactly. I hate kids.
You know, I did. I enjoyed that. I love the fact that the kids, you got to see it. Oh, before I forget, the cool part when the kids were disintegrating. Did you pick up on that?
What?
So the kids, when they broke apart, unlike the Vision, last time where it looked like he was turning to ash and going away, the kids were turning into blocks. If you ever played Tetris or
that's how the Vision was. That's how the Vision was this episode as well.
Right. But the cool thing is that was a direct throwback in my mind. Maybe the creators will say I'm reading too much into it. Dude, that was totally House of M, because the kids turned into blocks. And you remember they had it in the comics and on one of the covers, and it was all blocks that came out like Tetris.
That you're right. You're right. That's cool. I didn't think of that. I wonder if they did take that into account. That's a very good point, because that was cool. And as soon as that started happening, I'm like, come on, Wanda. This is where you need to step up and be a hero and let it happen. And she couldn't let it happen. I mean, she eventually came around, which you knew she would, but at first she didn't, which gets us to a couple comic book screenshots. Hold on. Oops, wrong way. So this didn't actually happen in it, but they did face off. So that's pretty cool. This is from an issue of Avengers from the early 90s. I don't know the storyline. I do know it's drawn by Steve Epting and inked by Tom Palmer. I'm friends with Steve, and I've got to meet Tom. Tom's a legend in the business. Anyhow, so even though it didn't actually happen this way, it was, still kind of cool. And then the real cool one was this in the end when the Vision is choking up and he starts to tear up. Oh no! Starts to tear up as he goes by.
And which was cool because he is a figment of the Mind Stone, which means he technically doesn't have the mechanical restrictions that the White Vision does.
Right.
And he actually was able to display the emotion. It was awesome. It really was a really cool scene. And because as soon as he cried, I'm like, oh my God, that's right from the comics. And I said, I remember that. And that was so cool because when this comic was drawn, I still remember reading that and going, wow, he's human. And I start, and I think of like what Data was trying to be in Star Trek: The Next Generation. This is what Data was striving to do the entire time, is to have that kind of emotion.
Dennis, even an android can cry. Damn it.
Did you cry, Andy?
An android can cry.
Did you cry?
Because an android cry if I kick him in his balls or in that area.
Well, can I hear him scream if you do in the woods?
Right. That's what I want to know. If I kick the Vision in the nether regions, is he going to scream? That's the more important question.
Yes, that is the more important question.
I did not cry because I'm not a puss.
Wow. No emotional. Did Courtney? Did she get sad?
No, she didn't.
I'll let you know if Susie does when we talk, because I got to watch this just a little bit before we went live, because when I finally got back home here. So I didn't get a chance to do all the research that I kind of like to do ahead of time. And she couldn't come down and watch it, so I'm going to be watching it again probably late tonight. But it's worth the second watch.
I'll watch it again just for the costume, because that costume is just awesome.
So this screen, now we need to talk about this screen.
This is after credits.
This is the second after credit. So we should actually, and I don't have a screenshot of the first after credit. Oh, by the way, we do got to mention Jimmy Woo, because that was kind of cool with the after credit scene with him being in charge. But did you pick up the really cool thing from in relation to, I think it was Ant-Man?
No.
Because he got led away and he was in handcuffs behind his hand.
Yeah, I knew
and he
that.
got that. And he picked his locks. Because remember, in Ant-Man, he was learning magic.
Oh
It
yeah.
was so fun. Jimmy Woo is such an underrated character. He's your straight comic relief guy. I loved him in this series. He was a fun little add-on to have into it. Just wanted to see if you had caught that because I laughed my ass off as soon as he picked it. And he goes, because he had lied about getting there in an hour. Hey, I don't suppose you can be here within the hour, can you?
Right. Right. That was awesome.
Yes.
That was awesome.
So that was the first after credit scene. The
No,
second one,
that wasn't.
well, he was
No,
just
the
it
first
was
after
just them
credit
setting
scene-
it up in the first after credit scene.
The first after credit scene wasn't him undoing the locks. The first after credit scene
No.
was Monica being taken into the theater.
Right, but it was Jimmy. Sorry, I got sidetracked. He was there at the first after credit scene because he was in charge, and they
Right,
made sure of
right.
it because, by the way, Hayward, we got to discuss Hayward before we talk about the after credit
sure.
scene here. Hayward was also a letdown in a way because he was just an ass. That's
Well,
all he was. He
really
was
was.
wound up being nothing.
There was no, you didn't care about him as a character because he literally was established in this series. You never saw him before. Like if he was a character from like some of the Avengers movies, like a Coulson type that you saw and you got to know and you got to care for, then you'd be like, oh, dick turn. But literally, he was in this show, and you basically saw him first when he appeared, where he was like, oh, I'm the acting director. And then you see, last week's episode, oh, he lied. He was the director. And he lied, and he was setting up Wanda.
Okay.
She never stole the Vision's body. But you just didn't care enough about him. So to me, when he got arrested and all that, I'm like, well, I don't really care.
Right. But there was one thing that he did in my mind, and maybe, again, I'm reading too much into it. In a way, he almost mirrored Wanda throughout the show. So what I mean by that is he was willing, because he altered his video, which means he altered the perception of what it was by Wanda saying that Wanda stole it. And he basically even said in this episode, he was just going to take all the, because Jimmy Woo's like, you're not getting away with it. And he goes, I'm just going to take all the video footage and edit it to what I want. And basically they're going to think I'm a hero.
Right.
And basically he's taking the entire series, re-editing it and splicing it up into something that he wants, which is a mirror of what Wanda did. She used her magic to basically recreate the entire city and basically re-edit entire life based on it. So to me, they almost mirrored each other, which is cool in my mind, unless I'm looking too much into it. But I still didn't care about him.
No, not at all. And so the first after credit scene was Monica being told by the FBI agent, hey, go in the theater. There's somebody who wants to talk to you. You go in. And like when she first goes into the theater, I was thinking, oh shit, is Nick Fury going to be there? Like in the theater? Because I'm like, why'd she have to go into a theater? And instead it was that swerve of, oh shit, that FBI person's a freaking Skrull. Damn, that's awesome. And then she said, he wants to talk to you. And she's like, where? And she just points up. And my first thought is Talos, that Skrull from Captain Marvel's like, we need to do some talking. Now, Dennis disagrees, but we know Dennis's track record with everything else is wrong. So you can go ahead and put your theory out there.
I think it's Nick Fury. I think they're talking about Nick Fury. Because remember, we saw him up there in the Sword Tower, basically, walking around barefoot and saying, somebody needs to get me my shoes, as he's communicating with Talos, and I can't remember her name, down on the planet. So the last place that we saw, that this is why I disagree with you, the two Skrulls, is they were still, I think, down on the planet in one of these episodes that they had on there. Nick Fury is the one up there. I think it's Nick Fury that wants to see her.
I mean, when it comes right down to it, we're not going to find out, I assume, until Captain Marvel 2.
Right.
I don't know the time frame. I know Doctor Strange is March of next year.
Yeah.
As of now, it's March next year. So it's not even, so it's a year. I don't know if Captain Marvel 2 is 2022 or 2023.
We don't know how far they're pushing it back yet, but
Well,
we'll
no,
have
it's out there. You can probably Google it and find out.
Well,
The
we
new
could
content.
just like Widow was supposed to be out twice already, so we'll see.
No, I know, but I think now, like when they say Doctor Strange is 2022 March, I think that's a solid. Just like I think Eternals is solid for November this year, and Spider-Man they're filming right now. That's solid for December this year.
Yep.
You know, so I think you could Google it and everything would probably be updated. So that's the theories on that.
The second credit scene though, so we talked about it just briefly before we went live. Is the cool thing is you see her sitting and you see a backdrop. I think it's Wundagore Mountain that she's on, which ties into Chithan, if I'm pronouncing his name correctly, who gives him the power, which was the creation of the Darkhold. And you see her sipping something, sitting out on the steps, but you see, like Doctor Strange, her astral projection is sitting there wherever it is, and she's memorizing, reading, and studying the spells and the history of the Darkhold and everything that's in there. And I'm like, oh, damn. So she is suddenly gaining all of this knowledge simultaneously with her astral projection, with the same thing that Doctor Strange does. And I'm like, okay, this sets it up. But I think this is all done at Wundagore Mountain. I just don't know how they're going to tie in the origins into Wundagore, but I'm going to guess that's what it is.
Yeah, I didn't think that. I wasn't sure where they were when they were doing that slow pan into the cottage. My first thought was Sokovia somewhere, but you're right. It could be Wundagore. I love seeing the astral projection, and then you hear the little voices, "Help me!" And I was like,
"Oh, the kids!"
And I was like, "Oh my God, are those her kids?" And even the look on her face changed some because she heard it. So you're like, "Oh!" And I think now I will say this: there's a lot of leftover stuff here to tackle.
Yes.
In Doctor Strange, because Doctor Strange 2, even though it's the whole multiverse thing, it's still a Doctor Strange movie. It's not a Doctor Strange, let's pull in Scarlet Witch and tie up all these loose ends movie.
Yeah.
He might be in it, but it's still a Doctor Strange movie where there's still going to be, some villain, I assume, from Doctor Strange's, long litany of villains that they're going to pull in.
Right. Hey, Zachary.
Huh?
Zachary just joined us.
Oh, hey, what's up, Zachary? And you would also think that, and this is the problem I have, how now COVID obviously derailed stuff for this past year. But even without COVID, generally the way Marvel's run is a movie comes out 2 years later is the sequel. But with Doctor Strange, even if you take a year away, that's more than 2 years out since the first one. Same with Black Panther, same with Captain Marvel. And my thing is, they set up at the end of the first Doctor Strange, that guy coming back. They didn't set him up as the bad guy coming back, but the after credit scene was it Baron Mordo? Am I getting that right?
Yeah.
Baron Mordo goes and takes the power back from I can't remember the actor's name now, but it was the guy that basically couldn't walk, and he could walk, and he took it back, so the dude was a cripple again. So they almost kind of set it up like the sequel is going to be, Doctor Strange versus Baron Mordo. Not saying they're not going to do that, but I'd like to see something allude to that, because
something Dogecoin had said the other week when he was on. Baron Mordo was one of the options I thought for the big bad behind the sequence.
That's right.
Quicksilver's rough. Yes, we talked about that. Seriously, they turned into a dick joke.
Yeah, but that was her house, because Monica said this is Agatha's house, or Agnes's, whatever she called her.
Yeah. Yeah, but no, I thought Baron could have been the big bad behind it. I was still thinking Mephisto with the flies, maybe Nightmare, but Baron Mordo actually made a compelling argument behind it because there are too many sorcerers. Anybody that's got it, I want to get rid of. And that made a compelling story that maybe he was the one that got the two witches to pit against each other. And we found out it wasn't. So again, a bit of a letdown.
But like I said, for Doctor Strange, I think they have to. If Baron Mordo's not in it, I'm saying it's a definite drop of the ball because you literally set that up, and Marvel doesn't mess around with their after credit scenes not to pay off.
Right.
If you look at the after credit scene in Captain Marvel, it works because the after credit scene. I don't remember what it was. But I know it paid off, just like Black Panther, the after credit scene doesn't necessarily, it didn't set up for the second Black Panther, if I remember right. Didn't the after credit scene in Black Panther set up for whatever movie was coming next?
Yeah. Sorry, and it's possible.
But Doctor Strange's after credit scene didn't set up for whatever movie was coming next. It set up for Doctor Strange too.
All right. So what we need to do, we always we've got to talk about our CGC score before we move on to Superman and Lois. I think I'm going to give a score for this episode and then a score for the series. Now that it's complete. This episode was solid. It did a lot of good things. We went through and talked about the great things it did and some of the things that it missed on, like, Quicksilver just being a dick joke and a few of the things. I'm going to give it a 9.2. I'm giving it a near mint minus. It ended well. They did good things with it. I enjoyed the hell out of the series. I just think I was left a little disappointed, maybe because of all the fan theories of what we had and what we thought may be coming that were empty or not explained. But overall, it made me want to come back and sit down every Friday morning. As soon as I'm out of the gym, I want to go home and watch Wanda Vision. And I did. That is a good show that did it. Overall, the first two episodes, I thought left me almost wanting to not watch this. And then it just picked up where I needed to come back every day. So I'm going to give it overall a 9.4. Because I thought overall it was an absolutely fantastic series that got my ass in a chair to sit down and watch Disney for 45 minutes a week.
Yeah, I can see that. I mean, for this episode, I'd go a flat 9, which is still high. So, because it was a great episode. I thought they tied everything up nice. I didn't feel it was rushed because at the end of last week, I was like, man, they still got a lot of shit to tie up in one episode, and I thought they did a good job of it. So I give it a 9. The whole show, I'd probably go 8.5. I enjoyed it. Those first 3 episodes really did just gut punch me. It was just like after the first episode, I was like, sweet sitcom, like it. Let's not continue this. And they did for 2 more episodes. And I was just like, oh my God, you really don't want me to come back. But I did because I want to see where it was going to go. And if this was like a Marvel first outing,
right.
Not, if you look at it, 23 movies, whatever, 24 movies, and then if this was like after the first couple movies, I'd be a little more like, what are you doing? But they got us Marvel Zombies in with their theatrical universe. Because I didn't even look at it like how many episodes? 9 episode TV show. It was more like just a 9-hour movie, from the filming and everything of it. So I'll go, a little bit lower on it as overall. I mean, is it better than Iron Man 2? Of course. Is it better than Thor 2? What isn't?
Daredevil, Elektra, Catwoman.
It was a rhetorical question.
Well, no, if you're asking it, I'm going to answer it.
Green Lantern was better than Thor 2. Oh, come on. Give me that one.
The first half of Green Lantern, definitely. The second half, no.
You bastard.
I know. Well, hey, Zachary, in case you probably missed the beginning, we're going to be doing a happy hour beer drinking one every year or every week. And this week I'm doing a microbrewery local. It's a Bladau. It's an Imperial Stout. So if you're there watching us, have a cheers up. We're going to be trying a new beer each week. I'll have different ones. Andy's going to have different ones, and we're going to talk about whatever our topics are. He's got some pale ale from Syracuse.
I just finished the Syracuse Middle Ages Pale Ale, and it was tasty. And this is the last one. We had a case of it, and this is the last one. Funny thing, our nephew gave my wife and I a case of this beer, Christmas 2018. Last one.
18. It's not even 19. Oh my God. Over 2 years.
Oh, wait, hold on. Let me think about that. Maybe it was 19. Obviously, this Christmas we didn't go anywhere. No, it was 18 because last Christmas, 19, even though we were allowed to, obviously we could travel because it was 2019. No. We didn't. So yeah, 2018. Yeah.
All right. So, now we're going to switch gears a little bit. And the second part of the show.
We're gonna burn through a quick review of Superman and Lois episode
2. And we wanted to see, because we both enjoyed the first episode. Everybody I talked to has enjoyed the first episode. Everybody I talked to hates what J.J. Abrams is releasing, what they're doing with the Superman movies.
Oh, so in theory, Dennis, did you see? I saw right before we came on that it looks like there's going to the talk on the town is a new Star Trek movie with J.J. Abrams.
Yeah, so they apparently got the contract signed for, I don't know if Hemsworth is going to make it back for Kirk's dad. It's been on and off again, but this last one didn't do very well, which was too bad. It was all right. Man, J.J. Abrams just screws up everything he touches. He did it to Star Trek. He did it to Star Wars. And it looks like he's going to do it to Superman. We will see. You know me, I'm a Star Trek sucker. I'll go see it. Most likely. I've never not seen a Star Trek movie in the theater multiple times. Even Star Trek 5, I saw twice, and that was painful.
Nice.
Yes.
Yeah, I've never seen a Star Trek movie twice. So Superman and Lois, yeah, I mean, once again, it's this dichotomy of Marvel does great movie stuff and their TV shows up until Wanda Vision, they just couldn't get a handle on. Not that they did a ton, but still. Whereas DC's like, CW TV shows are, all of them are really good. I mean, Supergirl dropped off the rails. I think Batwoman's probably going to be, well, I think it actually already got picked up for another season.
Well, that's because they're not going to allow it to fail. It is a crap series. I had to stop watching it. I couldn't do it anymore. It was awful. Both seasons. Didn't matter who the lead actress was, if it was Rose or the new girl. Just awful.
It's awful. Yeah, I mean, they'll give it. Well, my thought on Batgirl or Batwoman is they're not going to can it after the first season with the new actress. They'll give it one more, but I tell you what, if it doesn't pick up after the next season with the new actress, that show's a 3 season and it's toast. I guarantee it.
Yeah, I watched it and I went.
I say,
like, oh my God, this is awful.
I say it's done after season 3. Supergirl, of course, goes away, but Superman and Lois is definitely movie quality. And the actor Tyler Hoechlin, I know I screwed that up. He has grown on me. The new suit, they expanded so much more in this second episode on just, obviously moving forward on the storyline with Clark, having to be juggle being a dad and being Superman and, Lois adjusting to Smallville and having to deal with, the new boss, Morgan Edge at the Daily Planet, and he's coming into Smallville.
Yep. Yep. I really like what they're doing with it. And the thing that I really like about this, each character, because they got the twins, they got Lois, they got Superman's dad. You've got Morgan Edge,
Yep.
who's coming into town. So you've got each of them have a storyline. And
Right.
most of the time, and CW's good sometimes at providing storylines. Sometimes they make sense, sometimes they don't. All the storylines for each of the kids, the mom, the dad, everybody, the storylines make perfect sense.
Yeah.
I mean, these are solid. You get to find out that Captain Luthor is from another universe.
Well, he is, because this is the Arrowverse. They've established that this is in the Arrowverse, and in the Arrowverse, they did that mega crossover 2 years ago with Crisis on Infinite Earths, basically.
Yep.
And they all merged.
Yes.
So they've already established that. So, if you didn't watch any of that stuff, you might be confused. And I'm hoping next episode they basically, through dialogue, clean it up for the people that are new, that didn't watch that. But for people like us that watched that Crisis on Infinite Earths, I was just like, oh shit, they're referencing that. And the big reveal was at the end of the episode was the universe, whatever that this Luthor comes from, was fighting along General Lane, Lois's dad, against an evil black suit Superman.
It was black suited and he laser visioned the shit out of everybody. It was fantastic.
And you kind of wonder when you kind of got a hint, at least I did, when Luthor, at the end of the episode, Luthor gives General Lane it was dog tags, wasn't it?
Yeah, the dog tags from.
He gives him these dog tags from his Earth that were, General Lane's, I guess. And you almost kind of did get a hint of recognition, I think, from Lane, even though he's not from that Earth.
Well, I don't think it was a recognition about Superman. I think it was a recognition about what he's saying. What if Superman went bad?
That's what I mean. Yeah, no, that's what I meant. Yeah.
What I like is the fact that they're going full on into Superman lore, but we've all seen the Superman origin and the lore so many times. It's just like, okay, I don't need to hear it again. Right. But they've taken the lore and they've built it around the perspective of the family and the kids, which completely changes the dynamics of everything that we know about Superman. He's a dad now. He's got family problems. He's got one son that's got anxiety disorders, social anxiety disorders. He's the one that has potential power. This was I mean, it does such a good job of bringing everything into focus from a different perspective. It's the familiarity that we love of Superman, but told from a different perspective that makes it refreshing, and new. Dude, this is good storytelling, and you were right. The quality of the story and the effects and everything, it's like a movie. They're doing a fantastic job with this.
Yeah.
And we get to meet Jor-El.
Right. We got to meet Jor-El in this episode, who, I recognize the actor.
Dennis and I screamed right away. Woo, Robert the Bruce.
Yeah. So that was cool. His son, Jordan, there, unfortunately, doesn't look like he's going to have squat for powers because he was analyzed at the Fortress of Solitude and stuff.
Which I think is going to be crap, and he's going to go crazy.
Yeah, I think it's crap too. And I think just, even though it's advanced technology and all that garbage at the Fortress, I just think something with maybe his human DNA might not be registering. And once he gets obviously a little older in the season, or maybe even next season, because it's already been picked up for season 2. It's already been renewed.
Yeah.
So that they will explore. Will it go to the point of like comics where he gets a costume? I don't think so. I mean, if this show lasts.
Yeah.
Here's the thing. Arrow went for. Was Arrow like 11 seasons? I don't remember if it was 10 or 11. It was a long time.
I was going to say 9 or 10, so let's just say
10. I think this show, if I was the showrunner on it, I would be planning an end date of probably 5 seasons, because with Arrow, you were dealing with aging of the characters and stuff. But, you could go that 10 years because there wasn't little kids. There's not little kids in this, but, if this show goes 10 years, you're taking these kids that are what? Sophomores in high school, and 10 years from being a sophomore, you've graduated from college, you've done all this stuff, Plus, the actors that are cast for even Lois and Superman, they're not 20-year-old actors. It's not like Supernatural, which ran for 14 seasons, where Jared Padalecki, and I'm blanking on another guy's name, but they were in their 20s when the show started, and they were late 30s when it finally went off the air. I can't see the guy that plays Superman doing this 10 years from now.
No,
I just can't see it.
But I'm enjoying where they're going with it, and I hope it has some relevance within the universe, because it's well filmed. The stories are good. You've got Adam Rayner. He plays Morgan Edge. He's kind of the Trump bad guy, is what they're kind of portraying him as. And you've got Lois going against him, having to quit her job, move forward with it. And she quits, and that was a really powerful scene where she goes, "This is the best stuff I've written in years." And it said, "I quit," when he opened it up. And it's
knew it was going to be a resignation letter. I just expected more than "I quit." But when I saw "I quit," I was actually like, that is perfect. It's like a resignation letter where it says resignation letter and you can't read it because it's so small or whatever, but you get the point. I just love "I quit." I thought it was great. My question is this. So Clark apparently doesn't work. This is before she quit, right?
Right.
So Clark apparently doesn't work. So she's making enough money to be a freelance reporter for the Planet, to move to Kansas, to Smallville, and just be a freelance reporter. So she's making enough money. Now, there's no mortgage to deal with. I assume the farm's paid off.
No, she's got a second mortge.
Oh, that's right.
They have to pay off.
So they're living on one income. So she's the big dog reporter at the Planet. So, it's comic book world. She's making a good living, but now she quits and she's going to work at the Smallville paper. Give me a fucking break. Where's their money coming from? Do they really have that much stashed away?
No, they don't. And I think that's going to be one of the interesting dichotomies that we're going to
address that.
She's not making much money. He's making nothing. She's making a small amount. They have to pay off the bank. Otherwise, Morgan Edge is going to wind up somehow probably taking control of the town.
I don't think they're going to address it. I really don't think
I bet they will. I'll bet you right now, and it's live on the air.
I think it's going to be. What did you say? You'll bet me on
we're going to bet right now. I think they're going to address it because this writing has been very well put together, where they don't leave open holes, unlike the last show we just talked about. And I know
your betting track record with me blows. You've lost every bet we've made.
I can't hear you.
Right. You've lost every bet. Yeah. You've lost every bet we made. So for some reason we can make a bet. I don't care. But my point is, I don't think they're going to address it. I think it's going to be the bullshit comic book world where she just does her articles for Smallville paper. He's Clark stay-at-home dad and Superman, and money never comes up. I bet it doesn't.
They address it too much with the storyline with Kyle, with Smallville being taken advantage of. Nobody's got money. It's too much of a central theme for them to overlook it. So that's why
that means she either goes crawling back to the Planet because she needs to make money, or they could be like, start a podcast, and she just blows up like Megyn Kelly started a podcast in her own company, and obviously, it's doing well. so she, start a podcast, or Clark gets a job.
You know what? I think we have to bet a can of Chinook beer on this.
We'll bet a can of Chinook beer.
Chinook Brew.
Chinook Brew. The brew brought to you by Graham Nolan, upstate New York and Buffalo. Graham Nolan's Chinook campaign on Indiegogo with Alien Alamo. You can back it now. And if you live in New York, you can have your own Chinook Brew dark beer, because it is a dark porter, sent to you only in New York. They cannot ship out of state. Yeah, see, that's the thing. I told you I ordered it. You're going to love it. I'll never open mine because I don't like dark beer. So mine's literally going to be a collectible in the refrigerator.
No, because you have to open it eventually to drink it. So when I come over, I'll drink it, and then you can put it on your mantle of beer can collections.
It's like a 9.2, I think he said.
Okay. I've got some good whiskey-infused ones that are 11.5 here.
No. I'm just saying. No, I'll probably try it. I have to at least try it. So
yeah.
So what do you give Superman for the rating?
This episode. So we really both, I think, enjoyed the first one. This was a much shorter episode, a normal size episode, but we got the good Superman battle at the beginning, the middle, and the end. We got great dialogue from each of the characters. We get Angus McFadden as Jor-El, and they get to meet the one kid gets to meet grandfather up at the Fortress of Solitude. It brought everything together. This was a fantastic episode. I'm actually going to say I enjoyed it at least as much as the first one, even though it was shorter. I'm going to go a 9.6. This was a fantastic episode.
Yeah, no, I'm at a flat 9 on this one too, which is still a good score. But I mean, come on, man. When you go from a 0.1 to even just a 2.0.
You mean a 0.5? 0.1 doesn't exist.
Okay, so if you go from a 0.5 to a 2.0, you're not saying much. It's still garbage. But when you go from a 9.0 to a 10, those are increments that mean a lot.
It does. This show,
because I'll be honest, I think the Fortress of Solitude looks like shit.
Oh my God! You're picturing Superman, the original picture with the great big crystals that come out.
It's better than an ice cave or flying into an ice cave.
I think it was realistic. I don't care so much about if the Fortress of Solitude knocked me off, I would have gave it a 9.8. This was an absolutely fantastic, well-rounded, put-together episode from every aspect of storytelling.
And we talked about this off air, but I like to air my grievances for the public because people care about what I think. Why the hell is Clark wearing a freaking winter coat and a freaking beanie when he flies to the goddamn Fortress of Solitude when he's fucking Superman, and he doesn't need to wear that shit? He could have just took Jordan, his son, wearing a t-shirt and flown over there. And don't give me the bullshit of keeping up appearances, because the Fortress of Solitude isn't like on the outskirts of a city in Alaska where somebody's going to see him. It's in the middle of nowhere. Nobody's going to see him.
It was positive reinforcement for his son, who doesn't know if he has powers and can feel cold. I better wear a coat because it's just positive reinforcement for the kid. Seriously, if that's your biggest gripe, you just solidified my 9.6.
So is that the reason Joe Biden still wears a mask? Positive reinforcement? Because he's had his shots. He's the damn president, so he gets tested every effing day anyhow. He knows he doesn't have it. And once again, he's been inoculated. Yet we still got to see Slow Joe wear his mask and fiddle with it every 10 seconds, when they even say if you touch your mask, it's ineffective because you touched it. So is that why Joe's wearing his mask still? The same reason Clark wore the coat and hat?
Maybe Joe is the ghostwriter behind this series.
No, he doesn't have enough brain power.
But you're right. I mean, that is the one little thing that I picked out that didn't make a whole lot of sense. But seriously, If that's your biggest gripe, we've got a great show on our hands.
It's not my biggest gripe. I just want to know the reasoning. And it could literally be just a throwaway line of his son going, Dad, what are you coating up for? You're Superman. And then
you know what it is? No, I know what it is.
And then his dad could just be like, 4 appearances.
I've got the answer.
No, you don't.
The son has to go to the bathroom in mid-flight, so they have to stop at Norway. So they drop down into a small village town by the fjords so that they can walk in and go to the bathroom. You got to have a jacket on to look like a local and not a tourist. There you go. That makes sense.
No, I got a better answer than that, because that's a dumb one. Because Superman can fly so fast that the kid could hold it.
No, because if he flies that fast, the kid ices up and freezes in hypothermia.
No, he wouldn't. Because when Superman's holding you, you're protected by his aura. Bang. Going off. It's true. That's true. It's in the comics. That's why he can fly Lois Lane to the fortress. Because
all right, your homework is to show me this aura for next episode.
I don't have to show you a damn thing.
You do. You just made a point.
Anyhow, I can actually go with what you said, except instead of the bathroom break, it would be this. Hey, bud, we just had a nice trip to the fortress. I don't exactly have a refrigerator here. Let's say we stop off in Norway for a bite to eat. And then they land and they have to walk into town and look like they belong.
That's a good idea. As long as it's Norway.
You have a baby bladder and can't hold it doesn't mean these guys do.
Yeah. Well, we'll see. I still love the show.
It was good. I'm looking forward to episode 3. Did you happen to watch the season premiere of The Flash this past week?
I didn't get to watch that yet. I will.
You know, I will spoil one thing for you, because I got to say, if I remember right, because it's been so long since the season finale of season 6, I think this is new to this season, and I think it's just dumb. And Courtney even pointed it out. He puts his costume on, and instead of pulling the mask over, because you remember how you could see when he takes the mask off, it's bunched up, and then he pulled it on, right?
Yep.
Oh no, now it's Tony Stark tech. He just does something. It goes over his face, just like in Iron Man. And I'm like, I saw that and I go, are you kidding me? And Courtney was like, are they ripping off Iron Man? And I'm like,
yes, that means the show's been on too long.
I'm like, where'd that technology come from? I get it. Star Labs. I get it. They have all this extraordinary technology. And look, I get it. They made this cool super suit that he wears, and they've upgraded it because this is like season 7. And every season it gets an upgrade. Yeah. That upgrade is a jump the shark upgrade for me. Seeing it just over his face. I'm just like, nope, there is no reason to do that.
Thank you for that Arthur Fonzarelli quotation.
Yeah.
That was a direct Arthur Fonzarelli.
Yep. I'm totally cool. And I, in fact, loved it when they introduced the ring, and the suit could pop out of a ring. I thought that was, dude, I've been done. Don't show me that.
I know, but that shows it's the end of the show. When I finish, that's the end of the show.
It is the end of so says Dennis. So it is.
So says we all.
And this is my special, can you read that? Hackman mug.
I thought it would say First Man.
No, it's Hackman, because my buddy Bart Sears, we got these about 20 years ago. His mug says Hackmaster. So he's the Hackmaster, and I'm just
he's above you.
Yes. Well, he's the Hackmaster. Anyway, he started in the business before me, so yes, he is.
Hackmaster. That's a role-playing game. Does Bart role-play? Does he do RPGs?
I think he did D&D when he was younger.
There you go. I'll have to ask Bart next time I talk to him.
Yeah, you can.
I will.
We'll have to have him on Interview Monday. Speaking of Interview Monday this week, Monday night, 8 o'clock. Is it 8 or 7? It's 8. 8 o'clock Monday night. Our interview is with the one and only Aaron Lopresti. Aaron Lopresti has been in the business for 30 years or so, or creeping up on 30. He's worked on Wonder Woman Conan, Excalibur for Marvel. Justice League International. His credits are far and wide. So he'll be on our show Monday night when we do our interview Mondays. So please join us for that show. Pick his brain.
And then Wednesday,
we'll be reviewing Berserker, the Keanu Reeves co-written book with Matt Kent, drawn by Ron Garney, and Noctera, which is Scott Snyder and Tony Daniel. So we'll review those on Wednesday. And Monday is Aaron Lopresti. And please like and subscribe to the channel. Share the channel so we can get more subscribers to it. Hit the notification bell that's down in the corner so you know when we go live. And we'll see you guys Monday. So
yeah, we will see you on Monday. And find us on Twitter and Facebook. Like it, shoot us any comments that you want, or you can email us at the Dennis and Andy Show at Yahoo.
That's right. So until Monday, everybody have a good weekend, and we'll see you later.
Yep. Bye, everybody. Thanks for joining.
3, 2, 1.
Here we go.